Hey guys, how's it going? Zach in here, and welcome to my 4-part documentary on wholesaling real estate from A to Z. This is a very exciting one and probably one of the most daunting tasks I've ever done in my whole YouTube journey here, especially when it comes to real estate wholesaling. In this 4-part documentary series, I'm going to go behind the scenes for you and show you the entire wholesaling real estate process with a real wholesaling deal. I'm going to show you the HUDs. I'm going to show you everything from A to Z. This is a very daunting task because I'm going to be firing my acquisitions person, my transaction coordinator, my VAs, my dispositions people, and I'm really going to be doing a lot of the grunt work for you behind the camera here to show you the entire wholesaling real estate process. You're going to see me meeting with cash buyers, me going to title companies, me picking up checks. I want to show you me as a 21-year-old, I can still do this thing by myself. It's really going to be a very fun task, and this is filmed as a documentary series, a 4-part one, really Netflix style, to show you wholesaling real estate can be fun. I'm going to show you my whole process if I had to do this all from A to Z by myself, and this is really exciting. So this 4-part wholesaling documentary is going to be really exciting. The first part in this episode, I'm going to show you and explain to you the entire wholesaling process. It's going to be very fun, very exciting, and really so you get a grasp of the wholesaling process if you're brand new to this business, and really going to show you my process of it. And then in the next 3 videos, I'm going to actually show you and hold your hand on a real wholesaling deal where I'm going to show you the appointment. I'm going to show you the contract. I'm going to show you exactly how we got it signed, how much of a deposit we left, what do you do after you sign the contract, the whole process. I'm going to share with you the numbers. On the next episode after that, I'm going to physically meet with a cash buyer, a real flesh and blood cash buyer on an actual property walkthrough. I'm going to show you the texts, the calls, the conversations I had with the cash buyer, what I sent them over email to show them the pictures. I'm going to show everything. I'm going to get that assignment of contract signed, and I'm going to show you how much money I make on it. So I really got to pick one of the deals that we're doing right now in our real estate wholesaling business, not a wholesale or flip, an actual wholesale deal that we're going to do. And I'm going to pinpoint that. I'm going to choose that one. And then the last episode, we're going to do a deal walkthrough. I'm going to show you the actual check on it. We're going to go to closing day. I'm going to show you the whole process, the transaction coordinating, actually how to get the seller on board for everything. I'm going to show you my podio throughout the whole series. This documentary, hopefully, will be the most complete real estate wholesaling series ever done behind a camera. So I am very excited for it. This is a very daunting task. This is just going to be a very exciting one. This is a challenge for me. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to do the whole documentary series. It's going to come out like a very fancy Netflix one where every week I'm going to do a new episode on it until I get my wholesaling check, because it should take about a month for this whole real estate wholesaling process to be done. This is really cool. I'm going to go behind the scenes for you. I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to get a real estate wholesaling deal. And the cool part about it is, not like these gurus out here, I'm showing you the whole process right here. This is stuff that they will put behind a $4,000 or $5,000 paywall. I know no real estate wholesaling guru would do this because there's no money to be made on this. I don't make money doing YouTube channels. I don't make money doing films like this. But it's truly a passion of mine and something I truly believe in. Probably the only wholesaling person out there that gives this much free value and content out here, because I'm trying to put these real estate wholesaling coaches and gurus out of business. And that is truly my passion. That is something I want to do. This whole wholesaling process, and this process I'm going to show you right now in this episode, has changed my life for the better. Wholesaling real estate is one of the fastest ways to become a millionaire in under 2 years at any age, gender, race. It doesn't matter. Wholesaling real estate changed my life, and I'm here to help you out too. What is wholesaling? So wholesaling is basically the process of finding someone who wants to sell their house. We get a contract signed, and then we try to sell that contract for a profit. You think about it as a used car dealership. That's the best way I can describe it. Some other people describe it as maybe like a pawn shop of real estate or something like that, but I like to think about it as a used car dealership. Think about, you roll in a 2004 Honda Accord. It's super beat up. The paint is just disgusting. There's leaks on the front. The sunroof's cracking. There's cracks in the back of the window, and the thing makes a terrible sound. The transmission's terrible, and there's leaks on all the tires, and it's such a mess of a car. Someone rolls in the used car dealership, and they finally got a new job and some great money. And what are they going to do? that person who has that disgusting beat up car that's leaking oil and the gas is all messed up and it's really a dangerous car, what are they going to do? They have two real big options they can do. They can go pull up the VIN, they can go put it on Craigslist or put it on Auto Trader and pay a bunch of commissions, or try to sell it themselves and go meet with people in the back alley of a Starbucks and try to sell the car and do the negotiation, do a lot of stressful negotiations, try to deal with people just trying to underbid them on properties. And you got to deal with people who just want to list the car on the internet and get the most amount of money for it. And this person maybe has 2 kids, a job. They don't want to spend 5 hours a week trying to sell this dang stupid car that's probably worth $3,000 to $4,000. At most, they could probably get $6,000 to $7,000 for it, but at $4,000 to $5,000, it's not worth the hassle for them. Or when they're buying a car, there's a service out there that will just give them an easy cash offer of $4,000 for that car. It'll go towards the new purchase of their new vehicle, and they don't have to deal with the hassle, the stress. They don't have to pay a bunch of commissions on like Auto Trader or something like that. And honestly, they understand that they could sell it for more online, or bidding it up, or meeting with 10 different people trying to sell it for the most amount of money, and hopefully deal with the whole car registration process. They don't want to deal with the title. They have to go to the DMV. They got to do all this crazy stuff to sell the car, and they just don't want to deal with it. They want to sign a couple quick paperwork and they don't have to deal with it. That is what we do for real estate wholesaling. We are the used car dealership. So in that example, if the car, let's say, is worth $7,000 and they offered $4,000, $4,500 for it, what they'll probably do is the car dealership would probably buy that, probably fix it up, put $500 to $600 in it, and really overall be about $5,000 into it and sell it for like $8,000, make $3,000. Do you think the person that sold that car is upset that they made a profit off of it? No, they did the title registration, they put all the money in the car, and really they're the experts on it, and they sold it for the best price because they're the experts in that field. Like a person trying to sell that beat up car, we as real estate wholesalers try to meet people who have messed up or beat up properties that need a lot of repair. They're very distressed and there's a lot of issues with that property. What we try to do is we try to meet these sellers. We actually agree on a price. We get paperwork done to actually try to buy that property for, let's say, an X amount of price. Let's say, for example, $100,000 is what we agree to buy a property for. They know it's beat up. They're willing to sell property at a discount and give some equity up to you for the speed and convenience of just selling it cash. They don't want to deal with a 6% commission. They know all the hassle of it. They know closing costs are up the roof, and they know the stress and really the anxiety of selling a property, and they just want to get rid of it cash, kind of like a pawn shop or the used car dealership. What we'll do is we'll agree for $100,000. Maybe the property is worth $120,000 or $110,000, $115,000, but remember, they got to pay 6% commissions plus another 1.5%, and realtors, there's always a leeway in there, and really there's a big holding cost on properties too. So if a property stays on the market for 10 to 12 months, there is thousands and thousands of dollars of just holding costs. You got to pay taxes, extra repairs that need to be done on the property. They'll probably get beat up on inspections, and they probably won't get the highest price possible, and it's a lot of stress. Think of the cost of if they had to move to a new property and they had to hold that mortgage and all the interest that they have to pay on there. They'll probably give up tens of thousands of dollars just holding up with a realtor. And in situations like that, we'll go in and maybe agree on $100,000 on that property. I'll go in and find someone who would buy that property for cash, usually someone who wants to buy it as a rental or they want to flip it. And I actually sell the contract. I don't sell the property, but I sell that contract to that real estate investor who wants to buy as a rental, let's say for $120,000 or $110,000. So if I agreed $110,000, I would assign that contract. Basically, I'm actually selling the contract, the rights for me to buy it to someone. And at the end of the day, I make $10,000 to $20,000. The seller there doesn't have to deal with the hassle of the property. They actually probably saved money going with me on this situation. They get the ease of a cash sale. I make $10,000 to $20,000, and the person buying the property who's going to flip it's probably going to make a lot of money too. So it's a win-win-win in this whole situation. Now, let me tell you out the bat, not every property is like this. You're not going to go find a $500,000 house that's really nice, or a $100,000 house that doesn't need a lot of repairs or is very nice, and the seller is in a situation where they should probably sell it to the most money. The whole wholesaling process works when there's a seller who is willing, due to a circumstance, to give up equity for an ease of a cash sale. You don't see used car dealerships trying to give cash offers to Lamborghinis or Rolls Royces. They do it on the cars where the car's not worth much and the equity is not the biggest deal in the world. That's why most of the properties we do for wholesaling real estate are within $100,000 to $200,000 or even less. Really give up equity, it's not the biggest deal in the world. So that's how us real estate wholesalers make money. We find people who want to sell their property, who are very motivated to sell for cash. We call these people motivated sellers. Now, we find these people, we meet with them in person, or we'll do it over the phone, and that is called virtual wholesaling. From there, we'll agree on a price, we'll talk with them, we'll try to build what we call rapport, which is really a connection with that seller so we can understand their situation and agree on a price that works for me and them. I always tell the seller, hey, if you want the most money for this property, I'm not the person for it. I'm the person who will make the process very simple and easy. It's cash. But if you're looking for someone who wants to give you the most money for it, you should probably go with a realtor. Here's a realtor, give them a card and go from there. That is how you become very ethical in this business. If the seller understands that they're willing to give a discount for the ease of a cash sale, they don't have to pay commissions or title fees for it, and they understand that and they are still motivated to sell it for cash, hey, that's a win-win for us where we can make money and they can make money. You don't go to Chick-fil-A because you know it's the cheapest chicken sandwich out there. You know, it tastes great. It's very easy. I don't have to cook dinner. I can go out there to let's say Walmart, the cheapest place to get chicken. I can make all the stuff myself. It'll probably take me 6, 7, 8 hours to make one chicken sandwich. If I want to get the breading right and get the bread perfect and make my own little milkshake there and make waffle fries and cut it the perfect way. No, you go to Chick-fil-A because it's kind of expensive, but it's really simple. It tastes amazing and you don't have to spend hours and hours cooking, and it's really simple. It's really that process that we do with real estate. And that is the whole real estate wholesaling process. So really quick again, what we do is we find a person who wants to sell a property due to a motivating circumstance. It could be someone who lost their job or they're trying to relocate for jobs. They want to get out of the current state. They want to move. They want to downsize. They want to upgrade their property due to any other circumstance. Maybe it's a rental property for them and the tenant completely destroyed the property. A hurricane came by, the property went on fire. There's so many circumstances why someone would be motivated to sell a property. Due to any of those circumstances, any of that could happen. What we do is we go meet the person, we go shake hands, or we do this over the phone. You could do this process over the phone. You will make less money, but overall, I like to do it in person. And you go meet with the person, you meet with the seller, and you have a conversation with them. And if you both agree on a price for the property, what we do is we have a contract where we sign and we both agree that we'll buy the property for $100,000 or whatever price you agree on. To know what price you're going to make the most money on, you have to understand what the property would sell for to that end buyer, that person that's actually going to buy the contract for you. We can do that in a lot of ways. We can do something called finding comps or comparables around the area. Finding comps and comparables around the area is one of the best ways out there really to find how much the property is worth. So if it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot property in the 44422 area code, we know that other 3-bedroom, 2-baths that are completely renovated are selling for $150,000. And we know this property needs about $30,000 in repairs. We can really sort of understand the property would be worth $110,000 to really $120,000. We're not going to get very complicated in this episode on this, but really that's how we figure out what the property is really worth. In the next episode, we're really going to break those numbers down really well. So if I could figure out, this is basically arbitrage. One of my favorite things out there is if the property is worth $120 and we put on a contract for $100,000, we can make $10,000 to $20,000. We're basically buying $100,000 bills for $90,000 to $80,000. That is amazing. Again, we're buying $5 bills for $3. It's the best thing you can possibly do. I mean, if I offered to give you a $5 bill for $3, you would take that every single day, right? And that's basically what we're doing. There's not a lot of risk in it because we can understand that. And we understand the whole real estate process that we can do it. And I did my first real estate wholesaling deal when I was 17 years old and I had no experience in this business. You don't need experience. You don't need to be a licensed realtor. You don't really have to be licensed at all. And I honestly don't recommend being licensed at all for the real estate wholesaling process. So what we do there is once we get a contract signed, we actually find that end buyer. Usually there's a lot of ways you can do it. So for example, for me to find one of these end buyers, I like going on Facebook and I'll show you the whole process on how to find cash buyers. But really those end buyers are what I said there called cash buyers. They're buying the property for cash. It's one of the best things out there and really exciting. So what we do is we'll go on Facebook, find that cash buyer, and what we'll do is write up an assignment of contract, which, don't worry guys, if you go to www.flipwithrick.com/contract, that is my free wholesaling contract and my free assignment of contract. Don't get too stressed out over that right now, but you can go there and actually look at it all. It'll really give you a look of what real estate contracts look like. From there, when we assign the contract, again, that's basically selling the contract to that cash buyer, we'll agree on there that I'll make $10 to $15 or even $20,000. From there, we'll actually go to the title company. I'll bring the paperwork to them. So in this whole example, I'll bring the original contract with that motivated seller to the title company. We'll find the cash buyer. We'll assign it and bring that assignment to the title company. And then at the end, the title company will run paperwork, make sure that they're the real owners of the property. And then what my cash buyer will do is they'll give the whole $120,000 to the title company. The title company then at the end on closing day, which is basically the end of the transaction, they'll give $100,000 that we agreed on to the motivated seller. And they'll give me a nice, pretty check for $20,000. That is the whole wholesaling process. You make $20,000 in 1 month. And remember, you're not limited to one deal per month. I do over 7 deals every single month, and I actually make over $1 million per year net profit in my real estate wholesaling business. Again, I have partners, and we spend a lot of money in capital. We do house flipping in there. We do a lot of creative financing stuff, but this wholesaling real estate process can change your entire life. And this is really, really exciting stuff. So that was the wholesaling process from A to Z. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And remember, if you like this video and subscribe. It means a lot to me. This whole film really is going to be really exciting. So next week, we're going to go through the next process here of me actually finding a real motivated seller, a real life one, going on the appointment, getting an actual contract signed. And then we're going to go break down that whole process, me doing comps, me figuring out what the property's worth. And then on the episode after that, we're going to go find the cash buyer. We're going to go meet with that cash buyer actually in person, which is going to be a little scary to do in front of a camera. This, I don't think, really has been done at all, and that's going to be really cool. And at the end, we're going to go to closing day. I'm going to show you the actual check. That will be to me. Really, I have this whole process automated. I have employees that do this whole process for me, but I decided in this video, I want to go behind and actually show you, because you're comfortable with me, you understand my process. I want to show you what it's like to do it all by yourself. So this is really exciting, guys. I'm really pumped up. So again, this is Zach in here, and welcome to the 4-part documentary series. Remember to like this video and subscribe. It helps the algorithm here, so this documentary gets shown to the world. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. How's it going, guys? Zach in here. Welcome to episode 2 of my 4-part documentary on the whole wholesaling process from A to Z. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about actually getting a property under contract, meeting with the seller, dealing with comps, and eventually looking at the property, looking at pictures of the property, trying to figure out how much we're going to sell this property for and what we can sell to a cash buyer for. And in this episode, I'm going to show you the whole process of what to do once you get a property under contract. How do we do the earnest money deposit? I'm going to show you our whole contract that we got signed. I'm going to show you the whole process dealing with a title company too, right when you get a property under contract. Guys, this is the 4-part documentary series. This is the film I am making on the whole wholesaling process, because I don't think anyone's really dissected the wholesaling process, just shown you step by step the whole thing like we're doing here in this channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It means a lot to me. But so let's get into it, guys. So you remember in the last episode that I talked about the whole entire wholesaling process. Now we're going to get in the nitty gritty. Now we're going to go to real life examples. This stuff's real. This isn't fake. I do this business for real, and this is really exciting. I had to think about this for a second. So what kind of deal in my pipeline should I do? Should I go on an appointment? Should I try to record it for you? What's the situation? I was looking at the Podio. I was calling my acquisitions manager. He put a deal in front of my desk that I saw, and this was the day after I filmed the last episode. And I looked at it and said, "Wow, this." I don't know what fate happened, but this deal came across my desk and I'm like, this is the one I'm doing this on. This is the perfect property for me to do a 4-part documentary series on. And let me break down this deal. Let me break down exactly how I'm going to wholesale it. Guys, right now it is June 11th. So this is the day that it went under contract. So I'm actually filming this in the evening and this is exciting. So what is the deal? What's the process? And let me try to show you the whole entire thing. So the whole acquisitions process we do is, depending on our marketing, our acquisitions manager will get the deal in our Podio, which is our CRM, which is our customer relationship manager, where we get all of the leads. And from there, we try to call the seller and try to get an appointment with them, with this motivated seller, and try to get the property under contract. So this was actually with a direct mail postcard. Everyone knows that I like to use offerpostcard.com for my stuff. And from there, we talked to the seller and it was a complete crazy situation. So let me actually show you screenshots from the Podio, just trying to explain how crazy the situation is. So we pop up here. This is when we got the lead just in on May 26th. So this property, we're going to call it 3J Street. I'm hiding some of the more critical information on the property because you guys on my channel, and not everyone, but a lot of people try to steal my deals. I really can't afford, when I have tens of thousands of dollars on the line. I have employees that need to feed their kids and put a roof over their head. I can't afford some unscrupulous wholesaler watching my stuff, because this is one of the top wholesaling channels on the internet, to go steal this deal. So we're going to call it 3J Street in Fort Pierce, Florida. And this property, we got a call from an 80-year-old motivated seller who needed to get rid of the property. They wanted to move up north with their son, and they wanted to get rid of it. It was a complete mess of a deal. So let's pull up the Podio and really see the notes on it. So from the initial conversation, it says there was a new roof 2 years ago. He said he's 80 years old and wants to move north with his family. Seems pretty good there. As we look at the property appraiser website, it's 1,000 square feet. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, which is not the best in the world, but overall, if he's telling the truth, that it's a new roof. I mean, the permit's getting pulled there. Seems like it's about 8-7 years old, which is really not that bad. So we look at the property there, and initially it looks like a pretty decent deal. I mean, roughly he was at 115, 120,000, and if it held up, it was in decent condition, this could be a really good deal. So what we did is our acquisitions manager decided to go meet him at the property. And here's an issue. The initial conversation was the 26th. We tried to get an appointment as soon as possible, but he didn't want one. He couldn't do one that day. We tried to schedule something for the next couple of days, and to call him, we tried calling him back and he wouldn't answer his phone. Apparently, he's very hard to get a hold of, and we got a hold of him on the 3rd, June 3rd, almost basically a week later, and we knew how hard it was to get a hold of this guy. So our acquisitions manager said, "Can I meet you right now?" And he was like, "Sure." And we knew it was very hard to get a hold of him, which means other people cold calling this guy wouldn't get to him. Other people sending direct mail, it'd be a lot harder to do. So we knew this was a hot lead. We had to get this thing done as soon as possible. So on June 3rd, our acquisitions manager went out to the property. And let me replay to you the notes. Met his house, needs a complete rehab. The new metal roof was put on over the old roof, and it shows. Ideally, he said he wants to put $50,000 in his pocket after paying off the mortgage, so we agreed on $112,000, which would do just that. Then he had to get approval from his son, who lives up north, for him to move in with him. He said he could call me back that day. I've called him 3 times and I've been unable to get a hold of him. I need to stop by. So looking at that whole situation, it's not the best in the world. Yes, they agreed on $112,000. The property needed a lot of work. And from my conversation with our acquisitions manager, the deal was completely crazy because property needed a ton of work. It looked like he was smoking the property. The windows were all shot. The AC didn't work. The air handler was messed up. It was a complete messed up deal. So $112,000 was able to do a win-win where Ray could net $50,000. But him being 80 years old, we have to get approval from his sons. We want to make sure that they're comfortable with us going forward with this, especially when it's an elderly seller. We were currently in limbo in that situation on June 3rd, waiting for the son to be okay with it or approve it, or really talk to the family, see if that's something in his best interest. And lo and behold, June 11th, Ray called us back and said, yes, my son's okay with it. We got a hold of the son. We talked to him. He was completely comfortable. He knew how bad the condition of the property was, and he said, sure, $112,000 should work. We negotiated down to $110,000. The son approved, and then Ray approved. Our acquisitions manager went back to the house and got a contract signed for $110,000. And in my hand right here is the contract. We got that sucker signed. $110,000. We should make at least $20,000 on this assignment deal if the numbers look roughly good. Let me actually show you the contract, and let me show you what we actually got everything done for. Let me show what the numbers are looking like, and let's break it down, guys. So you can see here in the contract, we basically got the purchase price for $110,000. We have a deposit of $1,000. We're in Fort Pierce, Florida here, which is an extremely saturated market. So we leave $1,000 deposits because we don't want to get our deals stolen. We get deals attempted to be stolen from other wholesalers almost on a monthly basis. So we put legitimate deposits down. We don't recommend it 100%, but in our market, that's what works. It's a cash transaction. And we put here that we agree to do the closing on July 30th. That's when the sun's going to come down and clear all this stuff out. We have unfortunately, to get this deal done, the son agreed, because he was a little more savvy, that we only had a 14-day inspection period. Let me repeat that again. We have 14 days to get this property agreed and assigned with a cash buyer. Do you know how stressful that is, kind of? It's not the best situation there. I like 30 days. But to get this deal done, it's a crazy saturated market. We had to get 14 days. So, lo and behold, I agreed on it. I saw this came across my desk and I said, all right, 14 days. I think this would be a really good challenge for this documentary I'm doing and the film here. So let's get it done. Let's do 14 days. So as you can see here on the next part of the contract, we have 14 days basically on an inspection period where we got to get it done. And the inspection period, if you guys don't know, that's basically the period of time where we can actually get out of the contract safely. And this property needs a lot of work. So it's going to be a little crazy, a little stressful out here, but overall it should do very well. So that's it, guys. I mean, that is what we did right here. You can see I signed it on June 11th, which is today. That's the seller's information right there that he signed June 11th. And that is the contract. So really simple. We like to leave our contracts pretty simple. The son was more comfortable if we did a Florida bar contract, which is a lot longer, about 10 to 13 pages. So we were okay with that, and that's the one we did do, and we had him look it over. The actual seller looked it over. So overall, that's the one we did. We like to use a one-pager, but it really depends on the type of seller. So great. We get a contract for $110,000. So what should I do now? What's the process of it? So the number one thing I got to do right now is we need to leave that $1,000 deposit in there before I can start contacting cash buyers. Make sure the title's starting to get ran so the whole process runs as smooth as possible, because I only have 14 days really to get this thing assigned. So what I'm going to do right now is let me run over to the title company and drop off that $1,000 deposit. I actually use a title company here in Port St. Lucie, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt my best. I don't want to be creepy and try to record people that don't want to be recorded, but I'm going to try to record myself walking in there and actually putting down an earnest money deposit on this title company. It's actually one of the biggest title companies in Port St. Lucie, so there's a lot of closing agents there. So I know them, but the receptionist probably doesn't know me because they have a new one every single time. So let me drive over and drop this $1,000 off, and let's see the conversation I have dropping off and leaving my earnest money deposit. Hey, I'm here to drop off a check for a property. Just a earnest money deposit.
That's an escrow deposit?
Yes.
Let me get some information for any of the buyers. And the property. What's your name and phone number? Do you know that?
We're buying it.
What's your buyer's email?
It would be Zach@.com.
And buyer's phone number?
772. Oh, I just sent. All right, got my escrow deposit, basically confirming from the title company that I have the property in escrow and I have the receipt that I put the $1,000 in. So let's go find a cash buyer. Let's get this thing sold. Right now, let's go over the pictures of this property and really kind of look everything over and really make a determination on what price I should be selling this thing for and what we should do. I can see here, it looks like we're in the hallway area type thing. Doesn't look too bad here, but obviously it looks pretty dirty. So let's go to the next one. This is the bathroom. This is the only bathroom in the whole property. And as you can see here, it needs a lot of work. The toilet looks disgusting. I mean, nothing matches. This looks absolutely terrible. So, I mean, trying to zoom in, looking throughout this property, it needs a lot of work. You could see over here that the actual window is up, which means there's no AC and they're running it. I mean, it's probably super hot in that house. So that's nasty. That's not good. I mean, not the worst thing ever looking at it, but it does need a lot of work. I see cobwebs over here. The roof has some leaking splotches everywhere. And I mean, it's not in the worst condition ever, but it definitely still needs a lot of work. It looks decently clean. Seems like it needs a little bit of work. I mean, that needs a full renovation right there. Utility room needs a lot of work there too. The backyard looks decent on it. I'm just guessing it's smoking. You can see here they got all the windows opened here. Got roof problems. I mean, it needs to be cleaned up. And there's just debris everywhere on the outside of the property here. Looks like we're in the front here. And you got that old AC handler in there, which definitely is okay. It definitely needs some renovations here, but overall could be a decent property. Looking on the side here, the landscaping needs some work. It looks like there's another AC handler there. I mean, they literally put a metal roof over a leaking roof. So not the best out there. I mean, there's a big tree here in the way. Looks like we have a lot of issues here. So, I mean, the ARV maybe is 180, 190 on this thing, and it needs a lot of work. What can this thing sell for? I mean, we're doing the comps, and what I see from here is it's probably worth 190 is the ARV. So let's do some math really quick. So $190,000 is the ARV on this property. Let's break everything down. It needs a new roof here. I mean, that roof is not going to do well. It's not permanent at all. So probably needs $15,000 because this thing's actively leaking. He did this whole thing himself. Probably put 10 grand in the bathroom and another 10K in the kitchen. Probably put $3,000 for painting on the property. About 2K in the landscaping. And we're probably going to do flooring on there. So that brings us back to $35,000 on there. Think about the fencing on the outside. I mean, this property probably needs around $40,000, I would say. I think $40,000 gets everything going. And that's if you do it very skinny and very well and there's no other issues on it. It needs a new AC system, so it could be pushing it. But let's say $40,000 if you know what you're doing. If $190,000 is the ARV and I minus off $40,000 for repair cost, that brings us at $150,000. Now, $150,000 seems pretty good, but remember, my cash buyers are buying about 80 to 90% of the actual ARV minus repairs. So if I do some quick math here at 90% of 150,000, that means my cash buyers would buy at most 135,000 for this. At most, I'll make $25,000. But most likely, if I got to sell this thing for 80% of the actual ARV minus repairs, I'm probably looking at making 10. So I really got to make a decision if I'm going to make $10,000 or $25,000 on it, really depending on how much of a discount my cash buyers want on it. And we're going to see. So an average wholesaler that doesn't really know what they're doing, they could probably make $10,000 on it. And if you deal with someone like me who's more of an expert with a really robust cash buyers list, I could probably sell this thing for off of ARV minus repairs and sell this thing for $135,000. So I really got to see what I can do. So the problem here is I could probably push it to the limit and try to make the most money possible. But remember, I only have 14 days and I probably need a really, really reliable cash buyer. This is the dilemma I'm dealing with. There's smoking in the house. The roof's bad. There's leaks. It's got no AC. I really need to assign and find a cash buyer that will pay the most for it, but being as reliable as possible. And thinking about it right now, I think I found the guy. I think I know someone, a cash buyer I know very personally, that I can go meet them. We can get the deal done probably tomorrow and see what I can do. So it's June 11th right now. Give me the weekend. Let me go contact some cash buyers from my list. And really, I'm not going after the new ones. Really someone who understands the process and I can get this deal done as soon as possible. And let's see what I can do it for. I'm going to throw it and try to sell this thing for $140 and see what I can do. I think $140 is kind of a really, really high price. But we're going to see. This market's insane right now. So hopefully I get something going. I think the minimum I want to take for this is at least $15,000, $20,000. If I could make 25, on this thing, I would be blown away. So let's see what I do. This isn't the average wholesale deal we do. I mean, it's not the craziest one out there, but this is definitely a deal that I should be doing. I mean, our average assignment's 30 to 35, and our average wholesale flips 40 to 45, even 50,000. It'd be a little below our average assignment fee, but again, this was a situation where we got to get this thing done quick, and I'm not going to say no to a $15,000, $10,000 deal. Give me the weekend here. It's June 11th. Let's see what I can do here, and let me see if I can find a cash buyer and get this thing assigned. Again, I'm a little not stressed out on this one because I don't have my dispo team helping me out with this, but let's see what I can do. I think I'm pretty confident in this one, and let's see what I can do. So that is it on today's episode. We are going to go right now over the weekend, and I'm going to be calling as many cash buyers from my list. I'm going to probably do a little bit of email blasting out there and see what I can do to get this contract done. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. This is Zach Ginn, and let's get a cash buyer and let's get this deal done. It's all about the money, and let's get down to business and try to sell this thing for as much as I can. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day. I'll see you next week. How's it going? Zach Ginn here, and welcome to episode 3 of my 4-part wholesaling series, where I hold your hand and show you the entire wholesaling real estate process from A to Z. In this specific episode, I'm going to show you the entire assignment / cash buyer process to show you how I found my cash buyer, how I'm actually getting this property assigned on 3J Street, and how much money I'm going to make on this deal. Also in this episode, I'm going to go behind the scenes on a real property walkthrough with my cash buyer, and you'll actually see the seller there too on 3J Street, and I'm showing you the real stuff. This is the nitty-gritty stuff other real estate coaches and stuff don't want to show you. So hopefully you enjoy this episode and this film here, and let's get it going. So remember guys, episode 1, I shared exactly the whole entire wholesaling process. Episode 2, I showed you 3J Street, a breakdown of that whole deal. And really, I had a 14-day assignment, and I got under contract for $110,000. And I told you over the weekend I was going to call my cash buyers and see what I was going to do. And now it is June 14th. It is Monday. And now I need to figure out what I need to do. So it's June 14th, and here are my notes for the episode. I've called about 5 cash buyers that I knew that were legit. They would, within 14 days, I could actually get this deal done. Unfortunately, right now as I'm filming this, I only have 11 days to get a commitment and get the property sold by June 30th. Not stressed out, but it's definitely crunch time for me. So after calling about 5 of these cash buyers and try to sell this deal for around $140,000, a lot of them balked at it, and I had 2 cash buyers that were okay with it. And since this was 14 days, I really revealed everything wrong with the property. I told them about the AC, the smoking, the roof issue. You got to re-permit a couple stuff, and the landscaping was messed up. The fencing was all bad. I mean, I told them, and I had 2 cash buyers that were okay with it. They saw the pictures, and they knew it was in bad condition. They knew there was a smoker inside of there, and they were okay with it. The one cash buyer was actually a realtor who said they could get it sold for $135,000 from me, and then they'll just add their 3% commission on top of it. And this is a person that I've sold a lot of deals with. And then the next person was an end cash buyer who wanted to pay $130,000 on it, but they were as solid as they get. And I didn't make a decision here. This person was going to buy it, fix it up, and probably rent it out. They do a ton in Fort Pierce for it. So what was I going to do? And I decided, you know what? For this film, I want to make as much money possible while being the smartest decision ever. So I'm going to go with a realtor on this one, and I'm probably going to net an extra $5,000. So that's what I went with. So I didn't have to commit to someone and then deny someone else. So what I did was on Monday, which is today, I am going to walk through the property with the realtor. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to make sure and really tell the realtor today, if you don't do it, I'm going to bring it to the next guy. And then for tomorrow, I'm going to bring the other guy through. And we're going to see. I'm going to play hardball. I'm going to try to show this cash buyer that, hey, you got to do it right now or I'm going to sell it to someone else. So that little tactic works really well for me. So we're going to see. So right now, what I got to do, it's 10 a.m. I'm meeting at 2 p.m. actually at that deal in Fort Pierce we're going to walk through with the cash buyer. So let's get in the car. Let's go and let's do a walkthrough. This is the stuff most real estate gurus and people are very scared of. They're like, oh no, we're doing the stuff for real. I'm like, yeah, we're doing the stuff for real. So let me bring the camera here. Probably have to do this over my phone, and bear with me on this one. I'm going to drive to Fort Pierce right now. Who's going to be at the property? The realtor and my acquisitions manager and the seller. So there's going to be a lot of people at the property, and we're going to walk through and see what we can do. Let's go in the car, and let's make sure I'm there a little early. I want to drive for dollars around the area and see what I can do. I'm always early to every single walkthrough. It's really respectful, and it's really the best way to do business. So let's get there early. Let's go drive for dollars around the area a little bit, and let's do the property walkthrough. Let's go. All right, we are pulling up to meet with our cash buyer. I'm currently in Fort Pierce. So this is where we're at. Not the nicest area of town, but honestly could be worse. All right. And good news here. So I'm here about 15 minutes early before the cash buyer is supposed to be here. So what I'm going to do really quickly here is I'm going to do a little bit of driving for dollars. So this is the process of trying to find more properties, because if we got a smoking $30,000 plus wholesaling deal in this area, most likely around town here, there's going to be other properties that possibly could be really good. So right here is the perfect one. This property right here is all shuttered up. Looks really clean though, but the property's all shuttered up. So this might be a really good drawing for dollars lead. We got a guy right there looking at me all funky, so we're probably gonna keep going. Not the end of the world, but we just gotta make sure we're okay here. So again, dirt roads here. This is a older part of Fort Pierce, but all right, here we're at. Here, bedroom, here.
Okay, good. So they can just walk in that room there, that's all right? All right, good deal. Having fun. Do you like boil them up and eat them, or what are you doing?
I don't think so. It'll be right outside. Mine out here. She's out.
Yeah.
It's okay. About this big. That's just a body.
Wow, big rat.
What a little bit of stress off my shoulders today. Great news, guys. So after meeting with the realtor there, played a little hardball, basically said, I have another buyer coming in Tuesday. What is your decision? Because I get this thing sold. Everyone knows how hot this market is. This is a great zip code. And he said, I'll take it. We shook hands. I brought the assignment contract with him. He brought it to the cash buyer. It's all signed. There's a $5,000 non-refundable deposit to the title company for me there. And boom, we got this thing assigned. So got assigned for $140,000. And the realtor is going to get $5,000. That's their commission on it. So really for me, I'm going to net about $25,000 on this assignment. Got it done. I'm super pumped up. So $25K, hey, that's not a bad payday. Pretty exciting. I got it done. It's going to close at the end of July. It's really exciting. I'm really pumped up for this. Now, obviously, you know how real estate wholesaling goes. There's probably a couple ticking time bombs or an insane thing that's probably going to happen. But I'm going to keep you guys updated on it and really show you the whole process. Let's break down exactly what my assignment of contract looks like. So let's pull it up right here. So if you go to www.flipwithrick.com/contract, what you're going to do is get my purchase and sale agreement and my assignment of contract. So let's break down my assignment of contract really quick. I did the agreement is between signer and assignee. So we put our names in there, me being the signer and then the cash buyer being the assignee. And what basically we do the terms and conditions here. You can go in Google Docs or Microsoft Word and really edit it. The assigners entered an agreement to purchase real estate with, and then you put the seller's information there. Basically what we did here is we did a $5,000 deposit on there. I wrote here the purchase price on the underlining and then the assignment fee, and then minus the deposit, and then total closed by assignees. Overall, we're gonna make about $25K on this one. So this is what our assignment of contracts look like. So if you want that, you can basically go to www.flipwithrick.com/contract. We put an extra line there saying that there will be a $5,000 real estate commission to XYZ Realtor of blank, blank, blank Realty. That'll get them done. So just add an extra line on there if you're using a realtor or something like that. But boom, we got this thing assigned. Now is the waiting game. This is the game where we're going to have to make sure the seller is still comfortable with the transaction. We're going to be calling the seller once a week, and we're also going to be calling my cash buyer once a week to make sure they're okay with everything. So it's June 11th now. It's going to be over a month before this thing gets sold. The closing date is going to be July 30th because, as you see from the video I did, that property's got a lot of stuff and it needs a lot of junk to get out of there. And the sun's actually coming down from up north to actually clean everything out. So he's comfortable with everything. We're all good. What we're going to do is keep calling the seller, keep calling the cash buyer, and make sure they're all good and comfortable with the transaction. And on the next episode, we're going to fast forward to closing day. And closing day is we are going to do one final walkthrough inspection of the property. I'll go film it with you guys there. And what we're going to do is make sure the closing process is all good. I'll explain the closing process. I'll go to the title company. I'll pick up my $25,000 check. I'll break it down for you guys, and we'll end out this whole documentary series. So this is really exciting, guys. And this is how the average really real estate assignment deal from my company works and the way that I do it. And I know you got a lot of you OGs that have been watching me ever since I started my first videos. I mean, we've over 400 videos on this channel. You guys watched this since the beginning. I don't change my process at all. I try to keep it as real as possible, and that's it. So let's get it going, guys. We got this thing done today. I'm super pumped up, and let's go and fast forward to closing day. I really appreciate you guys watching this one. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day. What is up, guys? It is closing day. Zachin coming at you for the last episode of the Wholesaling documentary series. This is an exciting one, guys. I have the check in hand. The money is here, and I'm so excited to break down this deal now. You might be asking yourself a bunch of questions like, Zach, what's up with the new studio? Why do you have so much more hair? And what's going on? I thought that new episode was going to be 2 weeks after. Well, it's been a few months. And it's taken a while, but the final episode of the Wholesaling documentary is here, guys. So let's break it down. This is the last episode. This is closing day. This is where we get our money. This is where I break down the deal, and we're going to the title company. I got everything done. Everything is documented. This Wholesaling film will show you exactly in this episode the closing day process. I'm super excited, guys. But let's break it down. Really, what I wanted to break down is this deal. What happened? A lot went wrong. We saved the deal. I really want to talk about it. So let's talk about it. All right, guys. So yes, it's been a few months. A lot of stuff has changed, and we got the deal. So what happened? This is a very interesting one. You might be screaming at me like, Zach, what's going on? What's the situation? But the situation is the seller wanted out of the deal. Remember, we brought the cash buyer through, and the seller wanted out of it. They didn't want to deal with it anymore. And it was kind of shocking to me. I was like, what? I filmed all this documentary. I got everything in place, and now you just went out of the deal. It was so upsetting because I was actually hand-holding with the acquisitions team on this one. I was actually putting in my own time, actually trying to close the seller, do the walkthrough with the cash buyer. I really wanted to get back in the trenches and show you the exact wholesaling real estate process. And I was a little upset. I had the decision to make. Should I just scrap this whole documentary film I just did and let the seller go and just go away? Or should I fight like a dog and try to save this deal? Not for you, not for the person watching this documentary film, but for me. I should have done it for me. That's who I was doing it for, and that's what I am doing. So we're breaking it down today. So what happened? Unfortunately, what happened was the seller wanted out of the deal. They didn't want to deal with me anymore. They wanted out. They wanted me out of their life, and they didn't want to deal with me. And they told me they didn't want to move up north anymore, and they didn't want to deal with me. But the honest truth was they just wanted more money. But we didn't know that they were playing games with us. They're lying with us. That guy was actually lying with us, saying he didn't want to sell the property to me anymore. He's just going to stay in the house till he died. He liked his doctors down here, he told me. And I was like, well, shouldn't you just figure that out before you talking to your son about moving back up there, getting the U-Hauls, getting everything done? And I thought he was just getting overwhelmed with the process. But ultimately what happened was he just wanted more money. And and other wholesalers were actually telling him I was not good. I was too young to be wholesaling real estate. And I was actually trying to steal money from him. And they're going to give him $2,000 more. And I was just a terrible person to be trying to take that extra $2,000. And they should just go with an experienced older person. A lot of you guys watching this right now might think, oh my gosh, that's my worst fear. I see that and I just laugh. It's hilarious that these other wholesalers try me because in my market, I try to be the Kobe Bryant of my market. I just want to be on a different level when it comes to wholesaling real estate than the average wholesaler. Average wholesaler is right here. I'm up here above trying to destroy the competition, that Mamba mentality. And it's an easy one for me. Everyone writes me off for my age. I'm 21 years old doing a 7-figure net operation in wholesaling real estate. It's hilarious every time someone wants to try me on this, but they tried me on it. They tried going after my acquisitions team and it worked on the seller and they wanted out of the deal. Unfortunately for the seller, I had a cash buyer locked up. We had $5,000 earnest money already locked up. I had a legitimate contract. I had a legitimate earnest money deposit. Everything was perfectly done on my side legally. I had a very, very strong legal agreement. And I wasn't going to play hardball with the seller. I could have been a lot more aggressive with him and said, you're not going, you're staying with this price, and that's it. But I decided to be the nicer route. I wanted this deal to go through. The guy could have stayed and lived in it forever, and we could have gotten this huge battle for the property. But I decided to play the nice route here, and I really wanted this deal to be done so everything can get going and we can get this process really smooth. Luckily for me, we actually met with the seller again, and we renegotiated the deal. And the seller, I thought other wholesalers were telling me getting an extra 15, 20, 30,000. The other wholesalers he was talking to were trying to give him an extra $1,000 to $2,000. Like, it wasn't that much money, but I think the lesson you need to know about this is other wholesalers, they might even offer 1,000 or 2,000 more. And that's everything to that seller. So you really need to write that down and really understand that, because I could have lost that entire deal over $2,000. I was probably going to make 20, 25 grand on this. What was I going to do here? I renegotiate with the seller. They wanted 2,000 extra. So I'm like, you know what if I gave you an extra 5,000? And this was 2 months of just negotiating. The seller went MIA on me. It started ignoring all of our calls, and we actually had to knock on the door and talk to them. And they said, if you get an extra 5 grand, we're fine. And you know what? I'm like, let's save this deal. We're probably going to net 15 now or 20, whatever. But guess what? 2 months happened after that, and the property appreciated an extra $15,000. That's right. The property appreciated an extra $15,000. And guess who is set to make money from this? Me. So I give the seller an extra 5 grand. The property went up $15,000. That means my net equity on the deal went up 10 grand. That means I'm actually making more money now than if I wasn't and the seller didn't want to back out. So what could I have done? I had the cash buyer already locked up. I tried to get more money out of the cash buyer. They didn't really want to budge. They knew the property appreciated and they tried to get a new deal. I explained to the cash buyer that we got a new contract, and they're like, fine, we'll give you a little more money, and we know the property appreciated. So what I did to make it a really good deal, this cash buyer buys a lot of properties from us. So what we did was I gave an extra $5,000 to the cash buyer of just a deal. So we bumped our net proceeds just to make sure everything's smooth from start to finish, A to Z for this deal. We are netting now around $30,000 on this assignment deal, and it's just pumped up. We're going out here and we're going to go get the check. It's exciting. We're actually making an extra $30,000 because the seller wanted to renegotiate. I think the really cool lesson in this is you can still make money when the seller went out of the deal. It's amazing, little magic trick we're doing. Truly amazing how we're pulling this off, and it's awesome. But at the end here, it took an extra 3 months just of renegotiating, stress with all the seller. They had to redo the moving plans. A lot of time has passed, and I'm growing my hair out. We got a new studio. Everything's got a lot more crazier around here, and our following has just been insanely just blowing up. And it's been crazy, the growth for the 3 months, but I did not want to end this wholesaling documentary. This project has been something I've been working on. It's a passion project of mine, and I'm so glad I can close it out. We finally got the check. something tried to derail me last week, and the seller said, I cannot believe this. They actually got the HUD, which is the settlement statement, which shows the financial statements of the closing for the whole transaction, how much the seller is getting, how much the cash buyer had to pay. And the seller said, I can't believe it's an extra $1,000 I have to pay in extra taxes and in dock stamps. And there's some state taxes you have to pay, and they just were not happy. And they're like, I'm not selling it anymore. And I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh. I got through the entire hurdle. We're actually making more money. So I agreed. You know what, Mr. Seller? I'm going to pay for it all. I'm going to pay for the extra taxes and those dock stamps. He's like, fine, we'll close. And today's closing day, and I got word from the title company that the seller signed. This deal, it was not my easiest deal. That's the least. That is one thing I can tell you right now. This is not my easiest deal. But guess what? The deal finally stinking sold. That's it, guys. It's sold. We're going to go to the title company right now. We're going to pick up the check, and we're going to get our money. So let's go. All right, guys. It's time to get that money. Let's go to the closing. I am outside the title company. Let's get paid. Undercover right now. Woo! All right, let's go to the studio. I'm not going to open the check, and we're going to see what's inside of it, because I know it's a surprise what the final price is, so it's going to be a really fun one. Let's drive over. Boom! I'm magically back, guys, and guess what I have here? I got a check in my hand. That's it, guys. The money is here. I got the money. What are we going to do? This is exciting, guys. So let's open the sucker up and see how much money I got. So I told you guys we're net around 30 grand, and oh my Lord. Let's see if you guys can see it from here. Oh my goodness gracious. $28,409.85. Let me make sure it's in frame here for you guys. That's the check, guys. $28,409.85. Wow. That is a pretty penny right there. And for most, it's a life changer for most. I remember my first wholesaling real estate deal, and it changed my life forever. And it is so exciting, really, to go out here and see other people's lives change from the education content that I'm putting out for wholesaling real estate here. So I am just so grateful for the amount of support you guys have been giving me on this channel. And I'm just so happy the check is here. I promised you that the check was going to be in hand at the end of the documentary, and it's finally here. It's kind of a relief. We finally got paid on that deal. That was a mess of a deal, but it is done. Shout out to my great title company in Port St. Lucie. They really did a lot of favors for me about how difficult the seller was. They kept reaching out. They kept calling when the seller wasn't answering, and we finally got this deal done. So shout out to the title company. Going to make around $30,000 net minus this, so $28,409.85 for wholesaling real estate. That's amazing. That's around our average assignment fee now. Our average wholesale is roughly $40,000 to $50,000, but overall, that's amazing. I mean, I remember my first deal making $25,000. That changed my entire life forever. And me being able to consistently do 4 or 5 of these checks every single month, it's changed my financial future and my destiny forever. I am so grateful for the lessons I've learned through wholesaling. And at 21 years old now, from my first deal, $25,000 at 17 years old, a lot has changed. And the ability to consistently make money through wholesaling real estate has been one of the biggest blessings in my life. And I'm just so blessed that I'm able to go behind a camera here and show you exactly how I'm doing it and to delegate the systems, get it going. But truthfully, I want you to learn the lesson here is anyone can learn wholesaling real estate. I believe in this documentary film, we held your hand the entire process here to show you wholesaling real estate from start to finish. So what did I do? So remember, we had that motivated seller. They wanted to sell their property for cash. What we did is we contacted them. We got with them. We actually met them at the property. We got a contract signed, which is basically an agreement with me and the seller for me to actually buy that property for a specific price, From there, what I did was I actually found someone who was actually looking to buy more properties. They're going to renovate it and they wanted to buy it. So what I did is, as you saw in the last episode, is I walked that cash buyer through the property. They agreed to buy it. And at the end, I actually assigned the contract. I sold the rights to that contract for $38,000 net. It was about $28,409.85, but roughly made about $30,000 on this. So I sold that contract for $30,000. Not much work. I think I spent maybe 7-8 hours, and most of that was driving to the property. A lot of follow-up. Usually it's about 4 hours roughly on an assignment and a wholesaling deal, but this was about 7 because it's a little more work than usual. But overall, we got the property done. So I signed that contract. I signed an assignment of contract, selling that contract to that cash buyer. The seller went and actually paid $30,000 above my contract price, all together in a lump sum to the title company to buy the property. The seller got the original price that I agreed with them. I got that $30,000. The seller signed the deed over. They signed the property over to that cash buyer. I made 30 grand. The cash buyer's going to win. The seller got their money. The cash buyer's probably going to put 50, 60, maybe even $70,000 in it. They're probably going to make $30,000 net on that flip, but they're going to do it for like 9 to 12 months of work. It's definitely not worth the ROI with us, but that's what we did. We make $30,000. We're in and out. We do 4 or 5 of those a month. It's absolutely amazing. It's truthfully one of the biggest game changers in my life, and I'm so blessed I can help you guys out there. And if you guys want to know more about the wholesaling process, I actually have a free wholesaling course. It's like this documentary, but it's way, way more in detail. The marketing, the acquisitions, me actually closing deals in front of you, more cash buyer walkthroughs. It's like this documentary, but like 100 of them, and they're all specifically organized perfectly. It's a $10,000 course I absolutely give away for free. I am truthfully so grateful for your support you guys give me on this YouTube channel. It means everything to me. Guys, thank you so much. I'm just so grateful for this. The one thing I want you guys to learn about this is you just got to keep hammering on these deals. Finish strong. Go out there, close wholesaling deals, and change your life forever. Finish strong. Grind out there, hustle. I know it's abused in this industry, but go out there and just start wholesaling. Action is where the success is, and that's the one thing I want you to take out of this is start action today. Make a game plan. Go out there, start wholesaling, find these sellers, and go out there and get a deal. I'm telling you, it's not difficult. This process of wholesaling is not crazy hard. You just got to go out here and do the grind, the discipline, and the motivation to go out there. I'm telling you, discipline, discipline, discipline. Having the discipline to go out there, cold call for hours, drive for dollars for hours, cold call those deals, put bandit signs out. It's the discipline that will push you past that point of motivation to go out there and get wholesaling deals. This is Zachin signing out. Check out freewholesaling.com. Cannot say it enough. FREEWHOLESALING. Feel like I'm a spelling bee here, but go to freewholesaling.com. It will change your life forever. Thank you so much. Have a blessed one.